Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. This one is a doozy because I finally finished pointing the gable end of the house. I take the scaffolding down and I move everything back, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. I also end up doing another pressing task using this modified tool. It's an old broom that I've hacksawed off, and I'll be using that later on, so see if you can guess what I'm getting up to with that. And then stick around to the end of the video because I've got some wonderful news to share with you at the very end as well. So I hope you enjoy the video. Please give it a like if you do, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again at the end. Good morning everybody. My job for today is to tackle these annoying little holes that still remain from where I attached the rafters into the wall when I did the pergola. And in doing so, hopefully I can get rid of some of the lime that has been terrorizing me. I have two kinds of lime, a coarse sand mix and a fine sand mix, and they've been sitting in buckets all through this heat wave, and I basically have to keep rehydrating them. So I'm determined to use them and to get them out of my life so I don't have to pay attention to them anymore. So I'll start by finishing these annoying little holes here, and then I'll move on to a bit of pointing, because this is what I'm dealing with at the moment. It's not so bad now, but the sides keep getting crusty, and I'm fearful that I'm going to forget it one day and it's just going to turn into a block. And then over on this side I have some of a different mix, which actually does seem a little bit block-like. So I'm going to rehydrate this one and find a spot for that soon, I hope, as well. So with this stuff, as long as it's covered with a seal of water without any bits sticking up, it'll stay okay for a long time, I think indefinitely. But the problem is evaporation, so I have to keep paying attention to it, and that's annoying. So I'm hoping to use this up fairly soon. And it's the same thing for this one here, but since I'm hoping to use it, I don't want to rehydrate it. I don't want to cover it completely with water, I just want to rehydrate it so it's smoother and easier to work with. So I think once I get this all mixed up, it'll be more or less ready to go. That'll do for now. One thing I am not sure about is underneath here is more lime, and I'm wondering if I've been rehydrating that enough. Yep, that looks good. I've just been pouring buckets of water in this one without looking at it, but I think that's fine as well. So we've got a lot of lime to use. Let's get started. So as you can see, this is going to be pretty time consuming and very faffy, And I'm in a race against the sun coming over the top as well. And I also have to go find a lot more stones. So, yeah, this is the process. It's like pointing, but also putting together a puzzle at the same time. And once I'm finished with this, I'm gonna move on to pointing because I'd really love to get rid of that scaffolding that's at the side of the house as well. So I'm just gonna carry on with this and I'll see you when I'm further along. So today is all about pointing. I'm gonna finish this off and then work on the side of the house, and I'm just gonna keep checking in from time to time. Anyone who's been following my channel for a while has seen a lot of pointing, and anyone that's new, don't worry, there's a lot more still to come. I really wanna finish this wall in the coming days to get rid of the scaffolding, move the workbench over and get everything set up here. And I also have lots more pointing on the other side of the house as well. So I'm gonna finish this front bit, have some lunch, and then you'll see me again from the top of the scaffolding. So after I whack the lime into the crack, this is my favorite part, just coming by and smoothing it all off. You generally have to do this within a few hours of applying the lime into the joints, but in this weather, it's been a lot faster, so I'm back here about an hour later just to get it all finished off. And this section is obviously way up high behind a very bushy tree, so I don't need to worry so much about being perfect with the pointing, but I do like to give it my all if I have an opportunity. So yeah, I'll just be at this for the rest of the evening. Well, for about another half an hour or so. And then back at it tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It's beautiful out here, and that's because it's about 8 a.m. So I'm up to beat the heat to get to work on the pointing. I've added the bucket into the smaller tray, and I'm really hoping I have enough. I'm gonna get started on that in a bit. Hi, Larry. Hi, Larry. How's it going? But first, I saw a bunch of tomatoes down in the garden yesterday, and somebody gave me the reminder that it's best to pick things in the morning. What do you think? Better to pick things in the morning? That is the face of somebody who agrees. So I've got my bowl, and I'm gonna head down to the garden to see if I can pick the tomatoes that I spotted yesterday. I'll get them early in the morning, and hopefully they'll taste nice and wonderful. And these are some of the first tomatoes of the year. So I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. What are you guys? At some point I did keep track of what everything was called. These could be yellow queen, although they seem a little small compared to last year. Who knows? And then I've got some cherry tomatoes over here. Isn't it looking nice? Maybe leave that one till tomorrow. Got a couple down here as well. So I really focused on cherry tomatoes this year. I don't exactly know why. I think it's just the seeds I might have had from the previous year. So I think those might be the only tomatoes going. Oh, no, I spotted another one. I spotted another one, guys. So I've got one in here. And then I also think there's a variety. Yes, over here. It's called a black cherry tomato. And I don't know if this is the final color. I feel like this is ready. So I'll take it and I'll test it out. Couple more over here. Ah, there's actually lots. I'll leave those on for another day. Take you guys. So the harvest is about to be quite mighty down here. And I have a block of feta up in the kitchen, up in the fridge, so I'm wondering if I can find a cucumber. Maybe I can make a little Greek salad this morning. For lunch. All right, that one looks okay. I feel like when they end up kind of fat at one end and more narrow at the other end, this one isn't an extreme example of that, but I think it's something to do with not watering frequently enough. Yeah, so that one as well. So I might need to adjust how often I water, but so far the cucumbers are doing really nicely. And I made another couple jars of fridge pickles yesterday that I'll taste at lunch as well. So I've got a cucumber, that should do me for lunch. I've got a little handful of tomatoes. Let's go see if I can find a few more in the other beds. Anything happening here, guys? There's a lot happening, that's for sure. They're just not ripe yet. So yeah, that's a pretty good haul for a little small Greek salad-like thing for my lunch. And what is happening here? I removed the trellises here. I was gonna grow beans on them, but I never actually did. I decided to put chili plants in instead. So I took away the trellis, but obviously the trellis was supporting my kiwi, which needs a prune. So I'm gonna add fixing this to my list of the jobs for today. But for right now, I haven't even had coffee, haven't washed my face, haven't brushed my teeth. I was just so excited to get into the garden and grab some tomatoes. So I'm gonna do all those things, eat something, and then get back to work up on the scaffolding, doing some pointing. What do you think about that? Okay, it's been a short little stint of work, but I've managed to cover all this up. What I really should have done was chip out the concrete underneath there and then put stones in so it didn't look so blocky up here. I did that a little bit over on the other side, but it was very time consuming, and the concrete here is just super hard and would have required a lot of effort. So this is just an example of me, I don't know, being happy with something that maybe isn't exactly ideal. So I've got a little bit more to do up high, and then I'll probably take a look at what's happening inside my flue, because this thing wasn't cleaned last year and I feel like I need to take a look. Hello there. So onward with the rest of this, and then we'll take a peek. So pointing has always been super enjoyable for me. I always mention it. And one of the reasons is using lime putty instead of either cement or a different kind of lime, which is called HL5 lime, which sort of behaves like cement. This lime putty stuff is super sticky. It's a joy to work with. You don't have to rush because it takes a long time to dry. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. So it's one of my favorite tasks. It's nice now that I'm sitting here in the shade, but when the sun comes over, the apex of the roof is gonna get pretty toasty up here. So I'm gonna see if I can get this finished, power through, and then let it dry a bit, and then I'll come back at it with the wacky brush. Everything looks a little crazy right now. It's all very streaky, and it's got lines in it and stuff, but this is the secret for making it all nice and smooth looking. However, it's too soon for that. So I'm just gonna carry on, try to get a nice good push of work in before lunchtime, and yeah, see you again when hopefully we're ready to take a look inside this thing to see what's happening in there. Okay, here's where I'm at. A lot of progress has been made. I've done the wacky brush and the smoothie brush. As you can see up here, things are looking a lot more smooth and less riddled with lines. I did forget to do this part down here while it was still wet, so it's just a little hard to get it to brush smooth now. But with a bit of scraping and then smoothing, it seems like it'll probably be fine. With so many joins, it's easy to kind of lose track. But something is actually very satisfying about this, so I don't mind too much. So yeah, so it looks like most of it is done. It's looking good. And I couldn't really be happier with everything. One thing I do need to do is scrub off some of the white stuff. Doing it now is going to make it doing it now will just be a lot easier than trying to do it later on. So I've got a bit of work ahead of me doing that. Also weirdly satisfying. And I should probably also clean off the flue before it all hardens onto it. So it's a small thing, but if I do it now, I feel like it'll just save me a lot of time, because later on it could get really hard to clean off. Or perhaps it won't be hard. I don't really know how lime and metal react together, but I feel like I'm up here anyways, so I might as well just get it done. That'll do. So I need to get a knife, undo this thing, undo these things, remove this, and then I can see what's going on. But first, I think it's time for lunch. And lunch is very exciting today because it's cucumbers from my land, tomatoes from the land, olive oil from my trees, feta from the shop, oregano from the shop, onions from the shop, balsamic vinegar from the shop, so it's maybe about half from here, and it looks delicious. I've got an iced tea, and I'm rather excited for this because it's about 3 p.m. I've been working pretty hard all day. This is very refreshing. And this is the first salad from the land, so let's try a tomato on its own. Absolutely delicious. I already know the cucumbers are amazing. I already know I love feta. I really would like to eventually one day get into cheese making. I know there's certain cheeses that are a lot easier than other ones, but it's really just a matter of getting a kitchen sorted out. I haven't really started thinking about making my kitchen into a more usable kitchen. It's kind of a half kitchen at the moment, but once I get things arranged and more organized in there, I would love to get into making cheese and things like that. So I'm going to enjoy my lunch. I'm going to eat this pretty quickly because it's getting hot. I don't know if I've mentioned already, but it's about 3 p.m. and the sun is sneaking in here. It's definitely over on that side, so I'll eat this quickly, hop back up on the scaffolding, and see if I can get that pipe down take a look inside, and perhaps I'll have some flue cleaning in my future, but hopefully it's fine, because I did take a lot of precautions after completely screwing up my wood stove the first time around. I changed a whole bunch of things. I've got a video series of my wood stove debacle if anyone's interested in that. So I'm hoping with all the changes I made, the flue will stay pretty clean. And I'll go into those things a little later. But right now, I'm gonna eat my lunch, enjoy the sliver of shade that remains, drink my iced tea, and I'll see you fairly soon. Okay, so this is the tool of the trade. This is what I need to unscrew. The little nuts or bolts or whatever that are holding this flue in place. Woo! Scaffolding is hot. So it's not exactly the correct tool for the job, but this is what's worked for me in the past. Gets the job done. So I just need to loosen all these things. Probably should put the camera down and do everything with two hands. But while I'm doing this, I thought I could also talk about this pipe itself. You'll notice it's quite large, and that's because it's an insulated flue pipe, and that's because when I did my stove for the very first time in the first year, I had a regular pipe, single wall, and I think the difference in temperature when the hot air comes to the outside causes everything to gunk up. I was also using wood that wasn't properly seasoned, and I was also using pine as well. So I was doing a lot of things wrong, and that caused this thing to really get blocked. It was almost completely closed. It was pretty insane. But now that I've fixed this flue size, the insulated flue is in place, and a few other things, I'm burning wood that's oak instead of pine, and I'm making sure it's seasoned. And so now that I've changed all of those things, I'm very hopeful that the flue will be nice and clean, because it is a bit of a pain in the neck to take it off. This is the easy part. The hardest part is that it connects to the inside, and I need a second person in there to be able to take that part off. So things are somewhat precarious up here, but once I get this off, hopefully this should be fine. So let's see here. Maybe I'll take this one off first. Okay, that one's off. Very weirdly, there's ants up here. They're everywhere, I'm telling you. Please don't bite me. Okay, and then let's get this side off as well. I don't think they're ants. They're some flying thing, and they seem to be interested in whatever that is. Be gone. And then I think this is definitely a two-handed operation. So if I really want to see what's going on in here, I'll have to also remove this, and I can shine a flashlight down it. Because I want to see what's in that pipe, but I also want to take a look into the inside as well. Let's shine a light on this thing. Well, this flashlight's kind of crappy, but I do see some buildup inside there. Yeah, it's the soft stuff, so it's more of a problem when this gets really, really hard, but it's just a thin layer. And I think it would be wise for me to pull the whole thing out and clear it out. I can't clean it from here because it'll just fall into the top of my oven in the stove, and I think that could be a fire hazard, so I have to actually remove everything. But I need a person on the inside holding on to the other pipe so I can pull this one out. This part is actually just the sleeve, and the actual pipe that goes to the stove is inside, and that allows me to pull it in and out when I need to. So I feel like my flue design is good, and I'll be able to pull that out. It just so happens that it's a two-person operation, and Sinead isn't around right now, so I'll save that for another day. But let's take the top off for full effect so I can see the whole way through, because the flashlight that I have is just not doing the job. And if I can get its little hat off, it'll reveal all. I'm very curious to see the comparison between the insulated flue and the non-insulated flue, because the insulated flues cost an absolute fortune, and the non-insulated ones are also quite expensive, but probably a quarter of the price. So investing in this piece of flue, I think it's really helped a lot. I know it's helped a lot, but it'll be interesting just to compare it to what the other one looks like. So this thing is pretty caked on there. It doesn't seem to want to come off. So I guess I'll just take a look at it as it is. You guys can get the first glimpse. Don't know if you can see anything at all. And I'll take a look. Okay, so it's pretty much the same as the other one. I think with, actually there's almost nothing in there, so this was a very, very fine investment. When I cleared this section out of the first year that I had my stove, and it was the non-insulated stuff, it was completely caked on to the point where there was only a little bit of space left for air to go. So this was a drastic improvement, and cleaning will be really quick. I've got kind of a makeshift flue cleaner, but as I said, I'll wait until Sinead's here so I can do it all in one go. So I'll leave this disassembled for now. Got a bit more still to do up there. There's a rock that I want to get into the wall behind the flue pipe, and I want to scrub off the white stuff as well. So I'm going to just get on with that because it's getting late in the day. I'm super hot, and I just want to finish. And I'll see you tomorrow for cleaning of the flue, perhaps, or maybe something else. I don't really know. I guess it depends on what Sinead's up to. So it's been a good day, a lot of pointing. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm off to a late start because I went to yoga this morning, and I have something here, which I'll explain in a moment. It's not a back scratcher for Larry, though he does seem to appreciate it. These little yellow rakes are for scraping the olives off the tree. They look kind of ridiculous. They look like little cartoon things. But Larry seems to approve. What do you think of that, little guy? But what it actually is just attached onto the end of what was a broom. And then I hacksawed the sides off of this crappy broom so that it would fit inside of a flue. So this gizmo has dual purposes, triple purposes, I guess. Cat scratcher, olive taker offerer, and flue cleaner. So I'm going to bust this thing out fairly soon once I get my flue out of there. But before I get to the flue, I thought I'd mix up another little batch of lime because, of course, I ran out with just a little section left. So I'll get this on the go, and then it'll be ready once I'm finished with the flue and ready to continue with the wall. Okay, I think that'll do. Onto the flue, and I'm going to try to tackle it from the inside. So I've removed this thing from here using the pointing tool, and that's basically meant that now I can remove the piece here. In the past, I've had somebody inside holding while I go to the outside and grab onto this pipe and try to wiggle it out. It's difficult because you can't really communicate with each other. You're two people on the opposite side of a very thick wall. I guess you can kind of shout down the tube a little bit, but yeah, it's just tricky, and I'm hoping I can get away with not doing that this year because it's one thing to get it apart, but it's really, really difficult to actually push it back together. So I'm hoping, after giving a little wiggle like this, I'm hoping I can detach the whole thing all in one piece while sort of pushing the pipe back through the sleeve that's in the wall. So if I can do this, that was a crunch. If I can do this, it's going to save a lot of time and effort, and it's going to make cleaning the flue in the future a lot easier and less daunting as well. Little by little, it's almost out. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I guess my plan now is to try to get this bucket underneath. Oh wow, there's a lot of buildup in there, so I'm really happy I've done it this way. So stick the bucket under, and then when I clean it, in theory, well, in reality, all of the gunk will come into the bucket and hopefully not get everywhere. So hopefully this works. Let's get to the scaffolding and stick the faux flue cleaner down and see what happens. Okay, I have the ridiculous tool at the ready, but while I'm up here, I've noticed that there's so many figs this year. They're looking wonderful, healthy, and yeah, this tree is packed. And I was wondering if perhaps the olive thing might eventually also be good for picking the figs. So I'll keep the tool at the ready because I think these are going to be ready for harvesting pretty soon. So here we go. Let's give this thing a sweep. Get in there. There we go. So in theory, this should just push all of the flaky debris into the bucket for removal. If this was more caked on, I'd probably need to disassemble everything and go at it with a more robust tool, because I think this is creosote, or I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it can really cake on and really block up the flues and become dangerous. But I think because of all the methods I've put in place, all the precautions, using the insulated flue, it's just a dusty mess, and I don't have to go to any great length to scrape anything off. Oops. All right, let's go see what's in the bucket. Okay, that's a pretty impressive amount of gunk that's come out of there, so I'm really happy that I did that. And now I need to brush off the stuff that's accumulated here, which is quite a bit actually, into the firebox. And then, yeah, then we're all good, I think. So, this has been successful. I wasn't expecting to be able to do this on my own. Very good to know. And now I'm going to reassemble everything, crack on with the pointing, and just try to get it done. And I'll see you soon when I'm finished with the wall and finally ready to remove the scaffolding. So it's a new day and I can feel the end of this project. I'm almost done, and if I'm honest with you, I'm very excited to be finished with this. It's enjoyable. I do love pointing. However, days and days of it can get a little tedious, and things are looking really good. I'll show you the final reveal very soon, but I am taking a little bit of extra time to fill in some of the gaps here with stones, so that's gonna, yeah, add a whole bunch of time onto this job. But I think it's going to be worth it by the time everything is said and done. So I'm just going to keep going, and once you see me again, I will be hopefully removing the scaffolding, and hopefully that'll be later today. But before I get back into the work, let's just take a moment to appreciate this gorgeous view. It really is lovely out there. I love being able to see down into the valley, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous day. So I thought I'd take a moment to share that, but now it's time to get back to work. I'm back. The scaffolding is still here, but only to give me a little bit of a boost up to do the final stone. This is it, guys. The last one to go in on this wall. And she's a perfect fit. I love it when that happens. Of course, I ran out of lime right as I was coming to the end of things, but I mixed up a new batch. It's a little soupy, but I think it'll do the trick just fine. I really love it, but it's gonna be much better without the scaffolding in the way, so let's get rid of this thing, tidy up, and then I'll show you the results of all my hard work. So I've removed the scaffolding, and I'm gonna take you to the wall in just a minute. But first, I want to share my wonderful news with you, and perhaps wonderful is an overstatement, but I'm really very surprised and couldn't be happier because my car has passed the MOT for another year. I have no idea how the car tractor keeps living to see another day. This thing is a beast. She's served me well. I ended up paying 270 euros for the inspection. The mechanic took it for me twice, failed the first time, passed the second time. He also did the usual service, oil change and all that stuff, and he got rid of a mysterious clicking noise that happened every time I turned the car in both directions. But apparently that wasn't anything major. So the exhaust is still very stinky, but somehow she's passed. So I'm not going to question it too much. I'm just very, very pleased that I have my car on the road for another year. 270 euros is quite a bit of money to spend on it, but it's a lot better than having to cobble the money together for a brand new car. So I am overjoyed. So before we look at the wall, I have one more thing I want to show you. And that's this little hole here. So I finished the other rafters, but this one still has a gap, and that's because I'm gonna run conduit and wire through there just in case I want to one day have lighting out here that's turned on the inside, or maybe a power socket or something like that. So I figured I might as well run the wire through. If I use it, great. If I don't, I can just cover it up with the lime and nobody will even know it's there, but I feel like it's a good opportunity while everything's open to just sneak a wire through there. Okay, so that's definitely enough chitter chatter for the moment. I think it's time now to look at this wall because, as I've mentioned, I really am incredibly pleased with how it's turned out. So I do still have a couple little bits down low to do. I couldn't do that section because I got attacked by ants. And then over here, I've got another little bit. And I still haven't tidied up this disaster table because I'd like to move this over to be against the wall. But I'll get to that hopefully tomorrow. And I guess right now it's time to check it out. I think it's looking pretty damn sexy. It's definitely been a labor of love. I started this section shortly after moving in, so probably about 4 years ago. And yeah, I've just kind of been working on it ever since. But this past maybe 3 or 4 days of work, the final push has been enjoyable. It's been a bit of a struggle at the end. It got a little boring, but I really am incredibly happy with how it's turned out. And yeah, just as a lovely feature to have. I love the stone buildings. I don't love pointing on the inside. I like more of a finished render look, but I do love it on the outside. And I just think it's something about Portugal, something about this part of Portugal that makes it just extra beautiful. And having a lovely fig tree right beside it is another amazing bonus. And having a cluttery mess is something I need to deal with. So guys, that's it. This wall is more or less finished, and I am really, really pleased. So I'm going to end the video there. It's been a really long one, and it's been packed with a lot of pointing. Don't worry, I'm not going to show you any more pointing for the foreseeable future. I've got plenty of other things to be getting on with, and it does seem like the heat has broken. Hopefully the heat wave is over, at least for a little while, because I've got plenty of things to be getting on with outside, and trying to get stuff done in 40-degree weather is just not cool. So, that's enough from this video. I'm blabbing on as usual. If you like my stuff, please do give the video a like, share it around. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. I'm quite tired, I'm dusty, I'm dirty, and I'm looking forward to what I think is going to be a well-deserved shower. So, I'm going to go do that. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.